Hello, 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 and welcome. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Be Clay. It's your girl, Elisa. And here on the Be Clay podcast, for those that may be new, welcome. We are journeying through and learning how to just be clay, which the position of clay is just to be molded and be shaped by the potter. Nothing else and nothing less. We're not supposed to be telling the potter what we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to be doing and what is our real purpose, because that is not our job, okay? So, and not just that's not our job, but not just saying things and not understand what we're saying, right? Because we walk around and we sing the songs and we say, oh, you are the potter and I'm the clay, but yet we're not actually being clay. So we're just not just going to say things out of our mouth. We're really going to figure it out, identify it, and then say when we actually mean it. With all that being said, so here we are. It is we are in July, okay? Happy July 4th, and everything else. And so since, let me see, so we are in July, and for me, July and August is going to be very focused. We are locking in, okay? June is past, and we're in July and August. We're locking in because the goal is to graduate, okay? Finish all my classes at the end of this term, which this term ends on August 31st. So locking in is the absolute focus because we got to get this done, okay? This degree has been 22 years in the making, and we got to get this done, okay? To say the least. A long story short, with all that being said, so that's where we are. So you guys pray for me. Those that hear, my listeners that knows me, keep me accountable. Like, Lisa, what's up? Like, how many classes you get finished? It's week 2, this and the other. Like, that's I need y'all to help me out. And so let's get this moving. Bring up like, hey, if you ain't got 2 classes in by this day, then just, make up some stuff, some things that, that's going to keep me motivated, that it's going to push me to, to get this done. Okay. Because it's going, as I'm saying it, I know it sounds crazy, but I know I can do it as long as I lock in. And so that's what we're going to do. And then, and I got a lot still going on. I have my girls going to college, so now I'm going to have 3 in college and, all of that. But we're going to keep it moving. I do want to say that it is also just to piggyback off of my last episode about did I learn my lesson. My children's party is coming up. And so we are definitely changing the mindset, changing the yes, we definitely changed the mindset and the way we're doing things. About to reach out to a lot of people for help and not try to do this by myself. And so yay me, okay? Yay me. So with all that being said, here we are. It is 2024 part 5. And this is a lot for me. Not a lot for me, but this is a lot, okay? I don't, to some degree, I felt like every year was a theme. I'm not exactly sure what to call this, but 2024 was definitely an eye-opener, and it definitely was one that really it was an eye-opener. I'll maybe say that 2024 was the truth. Maybe we'll call it the truth. And so here it is. Why is the truth? So in 2024, I really finally got to the root of the journey of what was happening and what has happened And so, meaning that, so I explained to you that, so my name is Elisa, but growing up, for the most part, everybody called me Lisa. Lisa and Lily, that was my name for the most part. So there wasn't that many really people that called me Alisa. And I'm not saying that I hated it. That's not what I'm talking about. But one thing that I realized early on, that Alisa, right, cannot survive here. I think I explained that in a previous episode or whatever, but basically Elisa loved God. She was very close to God. She went to church every single day, but it wasn't just something that we did. She loved him. She really did. And that wasn't, and I guess to some degree, the love that she had for God, to really not just listen to the word, but actually do it and things like that, and the connection that she actually had, that challenged or convicted adults, because they didn't have that much, not said that much, or it wasn't that in tune to him. I don't know. That's what it felt like, because the persecution that I received, not just the peers that was my age, which is fine, because, but the adults and those that are older, it eventually caused me to develop these patterns and characteristics, right? That now that I learned what has to been this attachment theory, right? And I told you earlier that we learned about this attachment theory, but it started like now. That's why I said 2024 it will be the truth, because now I'm learning the root of where it came from, why that I developed Lisa as this person that is able to survive in her surroundings. Alisa had to be buried, because I actually remember saying this, to be honest with you. And it wasn't, I didn't say it to Alisa. I literally was just like, okay, at least I didn't say Lisa to Alisa, as I didn't realize, but I remember specifically where I was in my room, and my grandmother had just died. She was been going for at least over a year now, and I literally was just surveying what has happened. This is actually after a suicidal attempt on my life. This is what second grade, I guess. And I wanted to kill myself, because I felt like I tried to live without my grandmother. My grandmother, as far as I was concerned, knew the whole Elisa and had the capacity. Now, I don't think, I'm not saying that there was absolutely nobody. I believe that there was one or two people that knew the whole Elisa, but because of some other things maybe in their life internally, wasn't able to give everything that I need. And so, but my grandmother, she was like, I didn't have to explain to her anything. She just automatically knew. So if I seen something or whatever, I just went over to her and I'm about to tell her, oh, Nana, this is what I seen, but I didn't have to say that. She automatically understood, and she would just either pray, we should start singing or moaning or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, right? And so, she was, as far as I can still, was pour so much into me. And so, not realizing that she had to pour so much because she was about to leave, but and even that was a big thing for me, because I felt like I'm too much. I think I developed because she had to pour so much that she had to leave, and then that developed that part. That's why people don't want to be around me. That's why people don't want, they start saying, oh, Elisa, no one else thinks like that. No one, that's just you. That's not how really it is. And, basically call me crazy and different things. And so I began to believe that I was too much. And the one that, and it was, it was fine when I still had her around, but now that she's not here, it became difficult to live, and to thrive. And so I remember having that conversation with myself and saying, you can't be like this here, because you will walk around life alone. And in reality, even though Lisa was always in survival mode, she was always alone. Always alone. Because she was by herself at the top. Always pouring into other people, and not that many people really can pour into her in the greater capacity that she actually needed. There was on constant, should I say, constantly. There were people that, I'm not saying no one ever poured in my life, but constantly. There was people that poured in, in certain areas of my life, but like constant pouring into, and it's not because they was. I just learned that they didn't have the capacity to do so. And so Lisa was always in survivor mode. Growing up, she became full Lisa, and once she told herself, you can't be you. You're too close to God, and people don't like that, and you can't survive here. And so I created someone else. I created different versions of myself that was going to be able to survive. Not thrive, but survive. So here I'm learning that now, mind you, though, I didn't ever want to lose Elisa, but I felt like I lost her. As growing up, I lost her. When I came back to God at 2015, Elisa was there. So here's what I'm learning in 24 is that, so for about almost 21 years, since I was 15, let's start over. When I came to God at 15, right? When I came to God at 15, I was like, I told y'all that I said, I don't want mama's God or my daddy's God. I want God. I want you. I want this person that was, I want you. I need you, and I need you to teach me you, because I want you to teach me how to be in a relationship with you. And so that was Elisa. Now I thought that was just Lisa, who is finally free, because I thought Elisa was gone, because I've been Lisa for so long. I thought she was gone, and because Elisa did not really care about what other people think, because she loved God. Elisa understood who God was. She really understand like how holy he is, and just for us to be that he wants to be in a relationship with us, that's like, oh my God, that's a privilege, and we should not play around with that. Elisa had boundaries. Elisa was, that if people know, like, Elisa didn't play games, especially when it comes to the things of God. Like, are you serious? And especially, and she used to say, what's wrong with you? You've been in church longer than I've been alive. Like, you don't know that? Have you been not reading the Bible? Like, that's how she talks. Like, she talks with such authority, such truth. And so I thought she was gone. But now she started to come out, and I started to walk and manifest in her, and in those teenage years. And so when people and I didn't realize it. I really did not realize it. And really what made me be like that is because I can't believe that God still wants me. After all these things that I have done, he still wanted me. Are you serious? Of course not. I'm not trying to be. I know what it's like to be in a one-sided relationship. So we're not going to continue to allow him to be in a one-sided relationship. Are we crazy? And so that unconditional agape love that he has shown, I want to be worthy of that unconditional agape love. And so that's what it was. So no matter if people felt like, oh, you too much, I didn't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't bother me. it is what it is. You be how you want to be, and I be how I want to be, and let's keep it moving, for the most part. And so it went over my head. A lot of things went over my head to some degree. Like, I wasn't here just trying to be nothing, like whatever. If I was going to sing, I'm singing because I love him, and I'm not going to sit there and play around with it. Are you serious? Like, that's what Elisa was. And Lisa was still there, but to some degree, but trying to survive, but I still was pushing to be Elisa. And then what happened? I got raped. My son was conceived, and then Lisa was full back, like she just came full throttle. And ever since then, I've been searching for Elisa. And so, and I felt like, she's all the way going, right? She's all the way going now. And so, but I've been searching for her even from the beginning. Once my son was here and some things was, whatever, I'm like, okay, where's she at? Because I miss her. I missed her so much. I missed the joy that she had. I missed the vibrancy. I just miss, I don't know if that's a word, but it is today. But I miss that vibrant, that unapologetic person. I just missed that. I missed it so much. And we was in full survivor mode again, but even more of a survivor mode because there were some relationships that I had picked up that did not help me to get into Lisa, but stay Lisa, and not really understanding that this is not who I am. So I was always walking around like a fraud because it's like, I don't like this person, right? This person was thrown away. Like, I don't like her. So for the last 21 years, up until, well, not 21, we'll say it's 21 now, but like up until 2024, now I'm learning that Alisa wasn't gone. She was here the whole time, but Elisa is coming out, but I don't recognize her because when in 2015 when she came out, I just was like, oh, that's Lisa who's free, but that really was Elisa. And so 2024 was really the truth. I was really understanding, like, this is who I am. And at the end of 2024, I was like, okay, this is always been me, and I was looking for you, and now I'm finding you, and now it's time to walk as you. So I just didn't know how. So I had to let's just say I had to relearn 2025. I had to, I'm jumping ahead, but these last 2 years, well, a year and a half, we'll talk about that and get more into that, but I really had to learn that, like, it was the beginning, or I began to identify what was happening. So at the end of October, actually, days after my birthday, like literally days after my birthday, I lost my car. And this is where I really realized that survival mode. And like, I really was learning that survivor mode, that Lisa, that codependency, that people pleaser, that one that will put others before you, even though it's be detrimental to yourself, and all of that, trying to make sure everybody else is good, and just, I would say known that people won't, but you still hope that maybe they would. And now I have allowed all of that to happen, and I lost my car. I got distracted as well, and I lost my car. And that was detrimental to me because this is the car that I finally bought for myself. I worked my behind off, to get this car and everything. And it was, for the most part, everything that I wanted and plus stuff. And I could not believe that I allowed myself to lose this car. And so I lost my car, and I tried to get it back. And me trying to get it back, like I was up here like stressing out every single day or all day, and then it came to the point like, Lisa, you're not gonna be able to get this back. And I remember this day because when it came to the realization that I wasn't going to be able to get this car back, it was actually election. I think it was election day or the day after election day. I think it was the day after election day, because I was sitting in the Wawa just crying my eyes out, just boo-hooing, and so pissed off at myself for like, why do you keep doing this to yourself? Why do you, and just like, I was ready to give up, because, I literally was. I was ready to give up because, and it wasn't just because of the car, it was just how I lost my car. And I was looking at all the times where, it's, you supposed to do this and then you didn't do it because you was helping someone and they say they would give it back and they never give it back, but you should have just figured it, like all these things what I should have done. But so this is like, I'm tired of being this person. I'm tired. I'm just so tired of her. Like, I'm tired of her. And my sister calls. Now, my sister called. Now, let's okay. My sister calls, and I really want to bring this up because there's some things that came up of last weekend, and then I've been really at the wall giving to God about. And so my sister called, and me and my sister, we don't have a great relationship, to say the least. And I really want to put this out there for all those that have siblings, family members, or whatever, that you are like, y'all, I wouldn't say tolerate each other, but in a way you tolerate each other because that's your sister, right? And, as far as I know, like, even our family, they grew up like, that's your family. Like, you should always supposed to love your family, this, that, and the other. And I'm not saying that. First of all, God said love everybody. So I'm not saying don't love them. That's not what I'm saying to you. But family could be the most detrimental people to your whole entire being, right? The Bible in itself says, live peaceably with all men if it's possible. That means some people it ain't possible, and I think majority of those people that it's not possible with is your family. Even Jesus said that he's not even welcome in his own people, his own town, for the most part, paraphrasing that scripture. And so family can be the most, okay? The most. And that's why he said, who is but your family, but those, but your brother and sister and mother, but those that are in Christ. Because once you come in here, you got a whole different family. Because your natural family, that's people you can't choose who your family is, but after that, you can choose, right? So, me and my sister, me and my sister has, and that'll be a whole nother series, okay? But me and my sister doesn't have a great relationship. There are some things that within our childhood that has happened. There are some things that I have done and hurt her, and I have, as much as I possibly can, apologize. I can't take it back. I can't have a do-over. Butterfly Effect was a movie. It's not real life. And so I cannot, I just can't. That's not how real life goes. All I can do is apologize. All I can do is understand her feelings. But at the same time, what she failed to realize is that I'm hurting too. Like, it hated me that it hated, and that's not my saying. I hated myself for what I had put her through, especially since I was going through it myself. And I'm saying these things because sometimes we stay in our own trauma. You did this to me, and it's not negating the fact that it happened to you. It did happen to you. Yes, it did. It happened to you. But sometimes I think I'll say that the hardest part to forgive or to be able to really thrive and walk and heal is because we don't want the truth. And the truth is, and I've been talking about the truth in this healing journey because this has really helped me. Like I told you in 2020, like a while ago when I needed to forgive somebody, and the Lord kept saying, Elisa, it happened to them first. And I was like, I don't care. Like I've been there, and that's why I'm speaking from experience. I have been there where I really literally sat there and was like, I don't care. You shouldn't have done it to me. But at the end of the day, they did this to me because it happened to them, and so they was really acting out on what has happened to them, and they didn't know how to other process it or to heal because let's be honest, I love my parents and all, but they didn't know how to heal, and they didn't learn how to heal from their parents. And it's been a cycle of just walking around and just losing and never completely healing. Where we move and we have kids and we transfer all those things to our children, and we in this continued cycle. So being in that moment, that understanding I hate it for what I have done. My sister never, until this day, hates. She's never let that go. She still looks at me with those eyes like, I remember how you hurt me. And I had to learn, like, I'm not, like, at this time in my life, and 24, I literally was like, I just don't care anymore because, and I just assumed that we will never have a good relationship, and I'm okay with that. Like, I didn't want a relationship with her because if you are going to constantly just sit here and only believe that, oh, I'm just want to look at what you did to me and never ever look at what I've done to you, because I hated myself for what I'd done to her. And she couldn't fathom that. It was just as if, like, no, there's no way you can hate yourself because, you still did it to me. But there was multiple things that she did to me and negated the fact of what the trauma that I have suffered for the things that she have done. Because one of the main things she used to say is, we're not talking about me. We're not talking about me, we talking about you. That's what they favorite line. We're not talking about me, we're talking about you. So I wasn't allowed to voice my side. It was always about her side. And so at this day, she calls me and she starts talking about, she started talking about the election, and I could care less about no stupid election at that time. I just lost my car. Care about that? Are they gonna help me with my car? No. So I care less. I really couldn't care less. And so she was upset because I could care less. And I'm like, I just lost my car and I was ready to give up. And she looked at me like, well, it's just a car. And I went off. When I tell you, when I went off, she had it. I gave it to her, and now they just didn't care. Like, she just had it. I let her have it. Okay, I went off on her, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even care how she felt. I really did not. Everything that I've been building up, because in reality, even earlier that year, I knew that I was. It was a lot of build up from years of of a lot of stuff. And because in reality, I knew that me and my sister, we were not going to be able to have a good relationship because of that one thing that she just could not see her part in it. Like, she could not, and even the fact and come to realization, like, stop telling me that you love me, but really you don't, you hate me. And that's what I'm talking about. It's hard for us to heal when we don't accept the truth. There's sometimes we just say that we love somebody, but the truth is we don't love the person. We really actually hate them. I had to even learn that with my own, that I actually hated my mother. And I actually hated my mother more than my father. And so once I came to that realization that I actually hate her, that I don't love her, then I was able to release that hate, and now I can truly say that I love my mother. And so this is what I'm talking about as far as real true forgiveness and real true, you have to accept the truth in order to heal. You will not be able to heal if you're still walking around with these lies. Like, you have to accept the hard truths, right? And really ask yourself these hard questions of why you're not like healing. 2024 was that for me, where it was accepting hard truths of myself. And so, because at the end of the day, I don't need to be in survival mode 24/7 because Jehovah Jireh, I know who he is. I know who Jehovah Rapha is. I know who Jehovah Nisi is. I know who Yahweh is, Adonai, El Shaddai. I know who he is. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? I don't need to be in survival. Are you serious? Being in survival mode 24/7 means I'm not allowing him to be who he is in my life. Because I'm supposed to thrive in him and he's supposed to thrive in me. And so I'm not walking in my full authentic self. And at this moment, like after I let my sister have it, I literally, because I remember telling her, I don't want a relationship with you, because she started talking about how like, oh, I was hurting too, and I never said you were, and I truly believe that you was hurting, and that's the point. See, I accept the fact and understand and know that you was hurting, but I need you to accept the fact that I was hurting. Like, you are asking me to accept the fact that you was hurting, but you don't want to accept the fact that I was hurting as well, or we were both victims, or and everything else, like all of these things. And so I said, I don't want a relationship with you. And at that moment, I realized that I really had let that be the blueprint, that I was really cutting off relationships that was no longer serving me. And what I mean is that really taking the because there was relationships that were serving me, but because the relationships that weren't serving me was put me in a place that I was not being a good participant in other relationships. And I'm talking about like friendships and all of that. And because I was always survivor mode, and there was relationships that was keeping me in a survivor mode, that fight or flight mode, and I will be fighting in the wrong relationships. I don't know if I'm making sense, but so now I began to really assessing all the relationships and begin to say, listen, I could love you from a distance, right? And I can do this, and it's, and especially with family, you understand what I'm saying? Like, the Bible said, live peaceably with all men if it be possible. Even Jesus himself is like, listen, I love you, but he let you go to your own reprobate mind. Even him himself is going to stay, further away to some degree. And if you come back, if you really want me, see, like, if you really listen, Jesus said, count the cost before you walk with me. And that's what I started getting. He says, count the cost before you walk with me. So what am I doing? Accepting just any old thing. If he's not just accepting any thing, why am I accepting any old thing? If you really want to be in a relationship with me, then you would do the work. You would actually prove to to me that you want a relationship with me. And that's where I was. And that's what I told my sister. I don't want a relationship with you. If you really want to be in a relationship with me, then you would do the work. Because I was always the one who was calling this, reaching out, blah, 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 doing all this stuff for them to just be. I'm not doing it anymore because he's not doing it. So when we come to, like, he already proved to us that he wanted a relationship with us. Now we got to prove that we really want a relationship with him. And so am I better than him? No, of course not. So I had to learn these things, like, okay, now I'm not doing this. So I began to, basically go into each of my relationships with my family, with friends, and begin to literally just say, listen, And now it's easier because I'm able to articulate better, because I understand this attachment theory, and I'm able to. I did identify what has happened, and so now I'm able to say, listen, this is what I've been. I've been in this and I've been in that, and I'm in a flight mode, survivor mode all my life, and so here in this year there was a couple of friendships or a couple of relationships that I reached out to but I have not talked to them yet, but that's a different story. But this is where in November, December is what I've been beginning to do, because my plan was starting in 2025 that we was going to walk in our true authentic self as Elisa. Now I have to learn who she is, because I barely was recognizing her, but we about to learn. And I said, I don't, if God himself give you up to your own reprobate mind, if you like, listen, God, I really don't want you, I really want to do my own little thing, he'd be like, all right, well, baby, go ahead. So what am I still trying to push and provide for people who don't really want to be in a relationship with me? And I'm talking, and this is not, and I'm talking my family, friends. We all know we be trying so hard to keep people around that's not serving us. And it's okay to say, hey, you're not serving me, and I'm not saying that I hate you if I don't hate you. I love you, and I have unconditional love for you. But we're not going to, I don't need to keep you in my space. I don't need to continue to try so hard, because what happens is, and what has been happening is that I'm doing so much for this relationship that there's other relationships that where people need me and I can't be there for them, and then their blood will be on my hands. There's a calling on my life. There is people that are assigned to me. Everybody has people assigned to them, and I can't be what I'm supposed to be in their life because I'm sitting up here focusing myself on people that no longer serve this purpose, right? And so this was an eye opener. This was the truth. This was me really learning who I. It was a lot of things all at once, right? All at once. Really learning who I was and whose I was, identifying who he really called me to be, and not allowing anybody, not even myself to some degree, because we had to learn, to say otherwise, right? To say otherwise, because they, people was like, oh, you always, no, I don't always nothing. This is who I was. This is who I am. This is this is that. Like, I'm not allowing you to dictate anymore, because that's what Lisa was doing. Lisa was allowing people to dictate who she really is based upon what served them better. Even if it was like my sister, who, oh, you was the worst sister I ever had in my life, and you treat everybody better, and this and that, when in reality that the things that I was giving to other people as my sister, I was giving to them, but they just didn't accept it. They didn't want to receive it. So instead of just understanding the truth on that matter, they just want to keep me at that place where they can continue to keep beating up as the reason for my issues is your fault. And I used to accept that. I always took it. Even things that wasn't my fault, I would take it as my fault, because I would say, oh, I know how to deal with it, or whatever. But I'm not taking things that don't belong to me. This part, yes, belongs to me, but that part does not belong to me, and I'm no longer accepting things that don't. I already got enough on my own plate. So why should I take things that doesn't belong to me? I'm sorry, you guys. Someone came in, but I'm no longer. I'm just not at this point in my life. In November, like after the conversation with my sister, it just brought more things to perspective of how much you have allowed people, everybody, my mama, my dad, like even my sisters, both of them. And this time, there's some things everybody, for the most part, growing up, I have taken what, because everything that I've done, what I wore, what I say, how I act. Oh, let's not do this because they're gonna say this about you. Or let's not do that because they like. Not no more. They could say and not no more. So we were at the place. I'm not doing that no more. I'm not doing it no more. And I'm not. I'm just not. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not. I'm not. It's all about being who he really called me to be. And I'm not using you and your opinions or who you think that God called me to be. I'm going to the maker and I'm having a conversation. I'm talking to the manufacturer daily. And that manufacturer is telling me who he created me to be. Simple as that. Especially if I know that you're not actually getting it from the manufacturer himself. You're getting it based off your own whatever assumptions are. Then I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening to you, and I'm not even listening to Lisa anymore. And this is the thing I had to learn, and I was learning at the end of 24. This is what this was about. The truth has been throughout the year. The character versus the patterns is those things that I have developed based upon the different things that I have went through in my childhood, the traumas, the all of that. And me realizing people don't like you because you're too truthful. They don't want God. Some people just don't want God for real, and that's okay. I'm not telling you to want God for real because you don't have to. That's your choice. I want him for real. That's my choice. Whether you want him for real, that's your choice. I'm not even trying to persuade you to want God for real. Again, that is your choice because he tells you to count the cost before following him. Did y'all really understand and know that? He clearly says, count the cost before, don't just come. No, I don't want just people just running the bandwagon. Count the cost because it costs you something. Count it. Figure it out. And so I'm not telling nobody to just say, oh, I want him. No, it comes with a cost. Are you willing to pay the cost to follow him? But now it's like if he say count the cost to follow him, then what am I doing here? Why am I just allowing myself to be in a relationship when people are not paying attention? It's going to cost to be here. And then understanding what type of relationship should I have be with you. That everybody don't need to be my friends. Some people just need to be just associates. Right? You're my sister, but I can love you from a distance. Right? I can be there for you and love you. I had to change the trajectory of relationships, and that's what I was doing. And I was beginning to explain to everybody in the year of end of this year, and being able to accept and say, Elisa, it is okay, and not letting people make you feel any worse. Because regardless, I'm trying to tell you, the Bible, there's a reason why it says live peaceably with all men, if it be possible, because it's not always possible, especially with family. Especially with family. They can be the absolute worst. Do you understand? Like, absolutely. Jesus was even accepted by his family. And I think we have to really begin to really identify even Christ himself and what he did in the relationships. But that doesn't mean he didn't love us, because he definitely did. He didn't stop loving us. It's just that how he showed up in our relationships in other people's relationships and other things was different. And I had to start thinking like that. I started thinking like that. What am I doing here? As much as he loves us, it's your decision whether you come with me or not, whether you come to heaven or not. That's your decision. So what am I doing? Really begin to ask yourself these hard questions. And I'm going to keep saying that because we don't like to answer ourselves hard questions. We don't want to accept the hard answers. That if we walk around talking about, I love you, but the truth is you hate the person. You really hate your mama. You really hate your dad, your sister, your husband, your wife. You're just saying that because you're saying that you love them because you're supposed to. As we learned, you're supposed to love your wife, and you seem immoral or you're a bad person. But until you really accept the truth that I really don't, and I think, and that's one of the things that I had with my sisters, that she just couldn't accept the fact that in reality that she did not love me. She did hate me. I seen the hate in her eyes every time she looked at me. I seen the way that she talks to me and trying to portray that she don't, but in reality she did. And that's why I'm telling you guys, you got to start paying attention for your own self. Do I really hate this person? Because it's in areas, and I was able to identify that because in areas where I literally truly, when I hated my mother, I can, it was in my eyes, in my, whatever, in my demeanor with her. When she used to say stuff, blah, blah, oh my God, like, you know, like, and she just could say hi, and it just was, and I'll be burning, you know. Figure it out, you guys. Figure it out. Begin to figure it out. Okay, if you are really talking about something, oh, I want to heal, I want to, you know, move in God, he's going to deal with all of that, the truth, not what we call the truth, because again, we lie to ourselves to keep ourselves in this, like sometimes we like to be in that victim mindset, being victimology. Oh my God, the victimology. We like to be always the victim, because if we stay in that victim, that means we are justifying how we treat other people, because we continue ourselves to be in that victim. But yet we still want God to have us in the victorious. You got to pick one. You can't say, oh, I got the victory all the time, but you want to stay the victim. You got to pick one. Choose which one you want to be, and then go from there. As I close, so this is the end of 2024, because this was November. This is what December was. Me basically, you know, all of the rest of November, I really got to that part of like understanding where I stood when it comes to relationships. And, you know, like I said, I didn't want a relationship with her anymore. And I was serious about that. I didn't want a relationship with her anymore. To this day, you know, there's some things that have changed within that mindset. But at the same time, you know, that said, in 2025, I began to basically trying to go back to the relationships that I have messed up, being in a survivor mode, and being able to articulate and let them know, like, listen, you know, I've been in survivor mode all my life, and this is why I became MIA, or, you know, went into the shell, and all of those things, to try to set up the clean slate for 2025 so that I can be renewed. And so that's what it was. That's what I was doing in 2025. Like literally, like, okay, you know, I was laying everything out on the table. Like, this was this was that, this was this came from, this is what I learned from all my life. This is why I feel like this is what happened here. That's what I was doing. So with all that being said, we have finally got to end of 2024. And then when I come back, we'll be in 2025. And I'm telling you, each year, end of the year was basically preparation for the new year, because things didn't start like, you know, in month 2. Things started January 1st of that new year right away. Things was there and starting. And every time you get to a new place or a new mindset that I'm going to change or I'm going to whatever, there's always things right there waiting for you to test what you say. So that's why I'm saying you better learn and get the hard questions, because you're going to be tested on everything that you say. And that new mindset, you're going to be tested immediately, like for real. Like, it's not even going to wait. So I will catch you guys on the next one, and always know that you are loved, not just a little but greatly, not just today but forever, not just by some but by the one who absolutely created you in his love. And he's not the only one that loves you. We love you unconditionally, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing you can do to change that. You are the potter, so I will be clay, be clay.